Welcome. This is our first Omeka community call. My name is Kim Wang, and I'm the lead UI UX designer on both Omeka Classic and Omeka S. Just to give some background as to what this is about. So back in September, I had the opportunity to go to Luxembourg, the DH Center there, to participate in a working group where we got to um, on conference with many of our users, see a bunch of really interesting use cases of Omeka S in particular, and get a lot of feedback directly. We hear a lot from especially module developers, but for me as a designer, I don't get to hear much about a lot of the design elements. So it was particularly refreshing for me. We had some really great discussions on both how to support theme development and the user experience of actually using Omeka from the admin and producing projects. And when I surveyed people there on how they'd like to continue these kind of conversations, like would a newsletter be better? Where do they typically like to um, just get that kind of community feedback? Many people suggested a community call. So here we are. We've set something up so that we can reach out to a lot of people who may not be already communicating with us through the forums or GitHub issues. So yeah, we're going to do something that uh, is very loosely structured in based off of what the things I liked there. We're going to start off with uh, presenters showing off their projects, how they're using Omeka in for their use cases, talking about their process, maybe what's unique to their needs, and maybe interesting ways they implemented these needs. And following that, uh, another designer from the Omeka team, Nelson Amaya, and I will be presenting on a couple of topics that are we're really excited about in developing themes for Omeka. And then after that, we'll open up the conversation for how we can, as the Omeka team, better support you all. And I'm going to say that like a lot of this is very like I keep on bringing up design subjects, design centers, and that's partially just because, as I said before, I really don't get to hear from people who work in that particular aspect of Omeka. So this is one sort of it'll things will lean a little bit um, more towards that just because of my interest and my pursuit of more feedback from that. But please feel free if you are primarily on content and you work with designers, or if even if you're on the development side, like we want to keep this still fairly loose and open and just foster communication. But yeah, I think that we'll start with our presenters then. We have uh, a few groups that want to share their sites, and uh, let me pull up who we're going to start with and also catch up a little bit on the chat here. Hello, everyone. Right, I'm going to pull up the agenda. All right, and we have um, first the Judge George W. Dietrich papers, and let's see here. I need to also make sure that I allow everyone who needs to talk that they can talk. Okay, I think actually everyone should be able to unmute themselves. So our first presenter, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself? Let's see here. If you're not present quite yet, we can move on to the next person and just circle back here. And if you are present and unable to talk, feel free.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, okay, you're here. So, okay,
I'm Sarah Jones. I'm in Iowa in the US where it is 8 degrees above zero. So I'm happy to be inside. I volunteer with the Jackson County, Iowa Historical Society. I'm a retired librarian. And so what I use Omeka.net to create a compendium of Jackson County history where we present um, artifacts, essays, discussion, we have a presentation series, we make videos and we have those there. So we're hoping to gradually build this into a more comprehensive access to our local history.
thank you. Do you want to share the actual site yourself, or I can
Yeah, I was
also?
just gonna do that. Hang on.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, in the chat. Hopefully it works. Yeah. So I'm happy to answer any questions or ask, and if anybody wants to ask me anything, that's fine. We've been going for a couple of years, I think. Yeah,
And I just pulled up the site to for everyone on the call to look at
yeah,
together.
that's
Yeah.
fine. Thanks.
hmm Yeah. Could you talk about maybe some of the plugins that you needed for your particular needs and how you selected them, and maybe any customizations that you did?
Yeah, well, I use the ex I use okay, I guess the most used features of Omeka.net are that for my purposes are simple pages and the exhibit builder. Because they provide me a greater control over look and feel of the information because we want this to be really readable and accessible to people. So I kind of fudge around with those two to put together something that looks where people will feel that the content is accessible to them and the topics. Um, let's see. And then for and then the YouTube the I guess these videos it's they're embed that's it the embed feature which yeah so that's really useful because people are used to seeing a page and sorry, oops,
I'm sorry.
sorry.
There's
It's my phone.
okay.
Forgot to turn the sound off. um Um, yeah, so there's let's see. And then of course, since our primary purpose is not to be a digital repository, I use I add items when I need to display them on a page. So that's sort of a different, I guess that might not be a typical usage of this platform, but it suits us. And the other Now, I have a background in web development, but we have basically no IT staff. There's no, and so having this hosted platform is extremely useful. I mean, we couldn't do this otherwise. And even though I kind of know what I'm doing, it's helpful. You know, eventually somebody's going to have to, I'm going to have to pass this off to other people. So having this be a platform that's pretty easy to work with is going to make this site sustainable, I believe. So those are, and then yeah, so I kind of fudged around with the basics, and you can see through the menu. Those are they what I call dive deeper is actually the advanced search, where we do browse items and collections, and then advanced search is the advanced search thing. So I thought it would might be more attractive to label it that way. Browse contents of in exhibits. That's the sort of those are those are topics that we want to highlight, and some are actually using the exhibit function in, but others are just links to simple pages.
Well, thank you. I'm
Mhm.
going to, I think I want to start switching over to the next presenter just to make sure that we all have
Okay,
time.
absolutely.
Yes, thank you for sharing this. Um, I I see that Judith Taylor also volunteered to share. So I will turn things over to her.
Kim, can we go on to the
Oh,
next one? Judith is
oh,
having trouble joining the call, so I'm troubleshooting with her at the moment.
no problem. Okay, so next I have um, Sanjing.
Hello, it's Sanyan, and I can share
Diane,
my
thank you.
cool. I'll just share my screen. I hope you guys can see it. Yep.
If not, we'll work with you.
Can you see it?
Um,
Yes,
I'm
you
not.
can.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, I see it now.
So hi, I'm Sanyan. I'm coming to you from Cape Town. It was 30 degrees today, but it's cooler now. I'm working at the University of Cape Town, and we're using Omeka S to showcase the university's digital collections, and this is the landing page of our site. We have three different types of sites. We have collections that come from the university, library collections, and also we have something called the Curator's Corner, which is a more experimental place. What we've tried to do to kind of make it appealing for people to use Omeka S is to let them choose their own theme when they put a site together. However, one of the questions I guess I wanted to ask here for later is just something that I've been struggling with because I'm not a complete developer in a sense, is that we want to maintain the top and bottom kind of headings that kind of indicate that the site comes from the university, but we want to also indicate that like they have slightly different origins, so change the color depending on where it's coming from. And I've just found it challenging, I guess, because every time a theme is being uploaded, I feel like I have to add that custom code to the top and bottom and then have to redo that. And it could be something that I'm not missing from how to use like SESS and kind of some have a layer on top of it. But just going forward, because there's so many cool themes coming out. But like, I mean, if you look at the back end for where my themes are sitting, it's quite, they're duplicates of themes with the different branding attached to it. And that's kind of a little bit messy in a way. And I'm just curious how other people might have done it if to give that kind of freedom and create that. But yeah, you're welcome to look through the site. A couple of other things that I just want to raise in the short time. What was really cool in the latest release was having this resource item thing where you could change the different blocks for it. It would be really cool if you could also change that depending on what type of item it was or what kind of media it had, because we've had some instances in the past where depending on if it's an audio file with a transcript, it's displayed differently than if it's a different class of item in a video. And just to have that flexibility would be like really, really great. And then one last really funky thing I wanted to show you. I mean, you're welcome to look through all the other sites, but I'm speaking on the thematic, on the design of the thematic scenes. Recently worked with a PhD student who wanted to create a site on Omeka S, but her mission was to kind of make it look like an archival description space. So we used the hierarchy module and to try to make it look like that. So this looks very much like, for those of you who might have worked with Atom, it looks very much like an archival description set. And she wanted to have this thing where, you have event dates of items as they happen, and she wanted to kind of have it as a separate table. And she didn't want it as like metadata in a kind of flat structure. And we repurposed the linked resources code to basically change the headings to include event actors and link these as separate items. So this is a bit of it's like a horrible hack, but it kind of like reframes it in a hierarchical description instead. The site is not public yet because it's still being examined, but I just want to show you a quick little redoing of the linked resources that's specific to just this theme that we have to keep in mind. But yeah, that's some of the things from our side from like working with themes.
That's awesome. And yeah, we definitely have worked with on contract projects where we've dealt with a greater institution that had a lot of sort of child sites that wanted their own identity while also, maintaining a link to the bigger institution. So yeah, afterwards I'm happy to share some of our experience with that and provide an example and maybe see if we can work towards something that might be a little bit more standardized. We've been talking about child themes quite a bit as something that we were interested in pursuing, but we haven't really started the process of actually like creating details on what that would look like, but definitely something we're interested in.
Cool. Thank you. And thank you for all the work.
Anyone have questions? Oh, and I think we did have some questions in the chat. Someone was asking about what module you were using for something. Let me see if I can find it again. But there were a bunch of suggestions as to how people have implemented things before. Yes. Oh, someone was asking about Alex Dryden's branding module. That's what I saw. That applies branding to all the themes.
Yeah, a robust conversation going on about solutions in Classic and in S. We'll save the chat too.
Yes, for sure. If we don't have any other questions, I think we'll move on to the next project then. And I hear that Judith or Kelsey are here to present their project. Let's see.
I'm here, but I don't have very much to present. I didn't entirely understand what I was saying I would do, so
That's okay.
I'll show you, but there's really not much there, so.
Go for it.
Okay. Yeah.
Would you like me to pull it up, or did you want to pull it up yourself? Sorry.
That's okay. Is it already shared or?
I thought I saw maybe a link, but I could be misremembering. Let me go back to my notes here. Yeah, I see Olympia Music History. Was that the project?
That's the project. That's not the link to the Omeka project.
Okay.
I can start with that because we actually have content on there. If that's
sure, no problem.
And then
of course,
switch over. So okay. So yeah. So this is not an Omeka site, but this is connected to the project that we're working on right now. This is something that I've been working on with a couple of other people for going on 3 years now. It's mostly oral history interviews with people who were in the Olympia music scene, 80s and 90s. And along the way, we started recording these oral history interviews, and everybody had ephemera and items that they wanted to share with us, but we're not a physical archive. And really like the main focus of this project initially was collecting information and doing oral history interviews. And the history interviews are all cross tagged. So if somebody mentions another person, you can click on that and go to that page on the website. And each interview includes a full written transcript, or you can listen to the interview. So yeah, this is one that I did with Allison Wolf from Bratmobile. And if you click on the open full interview transcript button, it'll show you the entire written transcript. And then on the left, you can listen to it. So this is kind of where the project started. And then is it okay if I go to the Omeka site from here?
No problem. Go for it.
Okay. There's really like almost nothing there. So okay, I'm on it.
We also welcome works in progress. Just happy to see what everyone's up to.
Yeah, mostly it was just like I don't really know what I'm doing at all on this site. So I was hoping to learn from other folks. So I clicked over to that site if you want to pull that up.
See here. I'm sorry. Where did you put the link, or did you say that you were pulling it up yourself?
Oh, I can put the link in the chat. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were just like heading over and sharing, but I
Oh yeah, no, I can do that too. I'm happy to do whatever works best.
It's in there now.
Okay.
Almost nothing there.
That's okay. Oh, and
and
it looks like it needs a login. Yeah.
If you take the admin off, I think.
Oh, wait, okay. Is it? If it's? Oh, if it's.
Let's find out.
Yeah, because I think that the root still. Oh, wait, no. There we go. Because it's the archive. I see.
So this is basically I think we have like 8 things on there. I don't even know if we have that many. And mostly we were just kind of trying to put things in there to figure out how it all worked. And we were also having the kind of conversation between the Omeka Classic and the Omeka S, and which one would be better for our purposes. I'm working with another person who is an actual archivist, and she's kind of the one that helped us set up the basic of this, and then I'm just uploading things just to kind of like learn how to do it, but not much there yet. So
that's still very cool. I'm interested to see where you land between Classic and S.
Well, I think one of the things that she said is that it's easier to switch from Classic to S than it is to go the other direction. And for our purposes, which is mostly just like, we have a lot of flyers and kind of paper ephemera, that the Classic might be a good choice for us because it's easier to use. Mm-hmm. Probably she was probably saying that it would be easier for me to use, but she was probably just being polite. So, but yeah.
Well, this seems like a great start.
Yeah. This is our project.
Thank you.
I'm just here to kind of like hear about everybody else's projects and learn what I can learn.
For sure. And let's go ahead and look at someone else's project. Brian Moss, if he's here.
Yes.
Hello.
I said someone else is sharing.
Sorry, let me stop mine. There we go.
All right, so I'm Brian Moss, librarian at the University of Nebraska Medical Center. We used Omeka S, hosted by Reclaim, and And we just completed our upgrade to version 4.11, which was a major change. And if I had remembered I was doing this presentation, I probably wouldn't have done that this week because we're still tweaking things a little bit on the theme. So I apologize if some of the spacing or the elements are a little off. Like Sarah had said earlier, we use Omeka primarily for the exhibits, for the creative display of pictures and narrative texts more than for the cataloging, browsing items in rows and repository type functions. Our initial development was to create online replicas of our physical exhibits that were being built for a new heritage center, a museum dedicated to the library's special collections and the history of healthcare in Nebraska. For custom functionality, we wanted the kind of a hero template at the top, the faded pictures, these flippers I stole from the University of Oregon to separate out different exhibits. So as we added to each exhibit, they can flip through those. And we needed adjustments to the widths for resource with text block, which comes from Block Plus. We had the modules for timelines, mapping, and carousels, and clean URL. And more recently, we didn't have it at the beginning when we started, but the Easy Admin module is like my new favorite thing. We experimented with some of the IIIF modules, but they were just too much for now. As far as creating the theme, we started in 2020 with no Omeka experience. So we hired an external CSS HTML developer to make a theme with basic minimal changes from a couple of the default themes. And they did that in partnership with me, digging through documentation, GitHub, Reclaim forums, Omeka forums, and inspecting many of URL sites. We basically just had them set up colors and fonts to match our physical displays, the headers and footers, and a few templates I mentioned before. We've edited and expanded since then, but we are still librarians first, not full-time coders. So I'd love to put in a plug for keeping Omeka usable to librarians, archivists, and researchers who use this open source tool because they may not have huge budgets or development staff. For supporting our content creators, we have page templates just were introduced in 4.11, so we don't really have that. We mostly made them a guide to walk through how to set up basic pages. So, for example, our biopreparedness page has the 3-column block. It has the background color blocks. We were using the div blocks for that at the time, but with 4.11, that all has changed to now the block groups. Internally, we have just used a lot of, they have a lot of oral histories that our archivists had, so we included them with transcripts. This is some of that layout issue I was talking about. They're a little wide. We also wanted to have our timelines and maps. So this exhibit for the first Native American who completed medical school, Western medicine. We have in here life and times maps where it can click through to where she was born, where she went to school. And we also had the carousels quite a bit. In some cases, because of the way it was laid out, our archivist wanted just to have like 2 or 3 pictures wide. So we used carousels and we used CSS to hide the dots on the bottom of the thing. So there was nothing really to move. It was just 3 pictures in a carousel that were always visible. Yeah, that I think is everything I had to cover. If there's any questions, you may have to read them out to me. Otherwise, I can wait till the end also.
Kelsey asked, is that life and times map done through Omeka?
Yes, through the timelines module with Omeka, but it actually sources out to NightLab, I think, to the timeline JS.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it has the option to do the map with it. So that's one of their defaults. So people can still click through to see also like the items and the metadata and things, but people usually don't. They're mostly like our alumni or someone who's doing some research on one of the subjects of one of the exhibits here. Previously, they would have had to come in person, see our special collections people, and now we're starting to get things put into this digital so that people can hopefully be able to access them remotely.
That's great. I was curious, like especially for the pages that you use the grid layout for, would you mind showing what it looks like on the admin side? Because it's definitely a big feature, and I think that giving a demonstration of like how you can achieve what you did, a very beautiful site, using that would be a great demonstration.
Yeah, we didn't use the grid because that was just available in the most
Oh,
recent version.
block groups, that's what you said.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I can. Sorry, I have to pull up that. I should have been logged in it in advance.
Does anyone have any other questions in the meantime?
This is probably a really dumb question, but how did you get on the main page? How did you get your images to flip around to the text?
It's all just CSS. I think they call it transformations. So, I'm sorry. Let's see, for example, our exhibits page, we have a big HTML block here, which doesn't look like much. It just has the pictures and the text that we're going to want. And then if I open up the source code, oops, I thought I could make it full size, but no.
So you're doing a lot of custom HTML within that block. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just this, we call it the class is flipper. The front of the card has its own class, the back of the card has a class, and so then when they do a hover over it, it turns from one side to the other. And for the pages, for the blocks and things that we were adding, some of this looks a little different. I'm not even used to yet because of the 411 upgrade. But so our hero images were always just using the heading sizes, and again the source code underneath it has this little piece where it references the faded out picture. And then 3-column settings, we had a class for that as well. What else? I guess the blocks from then are just pretty much arranged vertically. This is something we may be able to do a lot more with the grid layouts, but that will be somebody else's problem to learn.
Totally fair.
So yes, if anyone has any other questions, I'm trying to think if there was any other things. I mentioned the modules we used. I would do a shout out to Daniel KM for all of the modules that he produces and the documentation that he provides. The 411 upgrade would not have been possible for me without his Block Plus documentation.
Oh, I see Anita has raised her hand.
Yes, thank you, Brian, for this. I think it's amazing. What are you doing? And I saw another question in the chat, and I have the same doubt. For the timeline and the map, are you using something native on Omeka, or are you using the Night Lab or other tools?
It's the Night Lab.
Night Lab.
We use the module called Timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Let me scroll down to that block here. Sorry about the rapid scrolling.
Thank you.
So here is this map by attachments. So we put all the attachments on there, and in the individual files for those, they have the dates and everything remade. And so under this, there's a breakout block for timelines, so we can kind of give it its header and things, say which event it starts on. So that takes care of the timeline half. And then the website is this default view, which we zoomed in to closer and then set that as the default view. And then the Night Lab, I'm trying to remember if this has a class. Yeah, we didn't use the class for Night Lab, so it's just a choice. You can choose either Simile or Night Lab, I think, in that module. It's been a while since we set it up.
Sharon noted in the chat that it's actually the mapping module which has timeline integration.
Oh, okay. So yes, that's right. So for the mapping ones, we also have timelines separate, that we have the module for that too. But yes.
There are two. There either you can merge your map with the timeline already built in, or you can use a timeline separate from a map depending on what flavor of map you want. So.
And yes, this was with Omeka S. All right, and just in the interest of time, I'm going to start transitioning us to our next project, but thank you. This was really great to see.
Thank you.
All right, let's see here. Judith, I hear that you finally made it here.
Yeah.
If you'd like to go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure how to use all this, but I really have a very simple website compared to that one. I have a couple hundred years of documents that my great grandfather and great grandfather left the family. And I wanted to put it online for people to access, but it goes far beyond our family because it's so far back. It's families in Virginia and Maryland. So I've put most of all the old documents on the website. It was very easy to do, very easy to search for anybody if they come in and look for names. But my question, it has been, how discoverable is it for people outside who are just on the internet? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
you want
a
me to
lot
take
of
that one? I field that one all the time.
you go ahead. Go for it.
All right. So the answer about discoverability, there are a couple of different paths you can take. The key thing to discoverability is linking out to other sites and other sites linking to you. That facilitates there are a couple of modules and plugins available, and now they're escaping my memory because I'm 50. I'll put them in the chat. That allow you to, they're called resource meta. There we go. If I left it long enough, they're called resource meta. That allows you to assign your metadata fields to things that search engines like Google recognize to read. That will help too. But really, it's about getting your site plugged into the world. It's open and it's on the web, but if it's not plugged into other things, the indexers don't necessarily penetrate deeply enough to get to it. And so it's not sort of something, it's not a yes or no question. There's something, but there are some things that you can do to raise its discoverability by packaging your metadata that way, but mostly trying to make relationships with other sites in the world. And that can be through any kind of sort of public conversation and things like that. And also, certainly, if you engage if you've taken an approach to metadata that uses standardized vocabularies and things like that that are available through endpoints through something like value suggest if you're using Omeka S or the LC subject headings in Omeka Classic, that sort of sucks you out through the linked data web into the world. So as many links as you can make out and they can make back to you, that will help the search engines get to you.
So basically, you're saying, and the simple way is, I take my link and go into to websites that people on it would use.
Yes, yeah, and say, like you want to publicize it that way, and then hope that other people link back to you.
Yeah. Okay.
That kind of reciprocal spreading through the web network is really what drives the search engines.
Okay. Thank you.
Certainly.
And if you had a URL that you wanted to share, you can link it in the chat, and I'd be happy to pull it up for everyone to look at.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
It's George WDEITRICK, all lowercase, all one word, .omega.net. Oh,
I think I've
papers.
got it.
George W. Dietrich Papers.
I think I've got it right here.
That's it. And that's the initial page that it lets people look at what this is all about. And then, of course, it has the few things on the side, but then you can browse the collections. I made it very searchable, which was what I found a problem on so many history websites, genealogical websites, is people can search for the names or they can search for the locations. And it's pretty simple. These are, you can see the documents there. I scanned most of the documents just as is. And envelopes, because it gives, old envelopes give addresses where people were. So it's very,
seems
like
a
I said,
huge
accessible.
undertaking.
It goes all the way back to Westmoreland. It gets Westmoreland County, which is Washington's county, where he was, and some of his relatives, Augustine Washington, witnessed some of the documents, but it also goes back into the 1600s, actually, in Maryland. So it's a great resource for people. I just want to make sure that I can make it available to so many people. And I'm going to add it to it too.
Well, this is great. Does anyone have any questions? Just double checking the chat too.
Yeah, actually, I guess Judith and I share something in that we're both on the hosted version, Omeka.net, which has fewer options and a little less control than people who have an installation version. So I guess that's kind of part of what the discoverability question is related to, because I don't think we have access to the the site
You do.
metadata.
You do. I just put it in the
yeah.
Just put the comments in the chat. Resource meta is available for all plan levels of Omeka.net.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Well, thank you for presenting that. We are running a little bit low on time for presentations, so I want to get to our last one. Actually, we have two more, so I want to get to make sure they have a little bit of time. Let's see here. Erin Chambers.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Let me share my screen here.
And I'll stop mine.
Let's see. You don't need to see the agenda. You all have that. Forgive me. I'm actually really nervous, and I think it's because that's weird for me. I think it's because I'm just so excited to be here. A lot of the sites that you guys have been showing are sites that I was sent when I first started designing for Omeka S to say like, look at what you can do. So I'm just like, oh, I'll try to like read from my script so I don't ramble too much. But I'm Erin Kay. I'm the front end developer in the CDRH, which stands for Center for Digital Research in the Humanities. And we're at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. So I was excited to see Brian in here. I know UNMC is doing a lot of cool works with this too. I also have a bunch of colleagues in here. So thanks, Karen and Chad and Nikki, for letting me gab instead of um, yeah, and actually, I'm going to talk about a project that we did last summer. And these guys that are present with me are actually working on really hard on a bunch of new projects. So I feel lucky to get to talk about this one. In most cases, we've been migrating existing sites into Omeka S. The CDRH has been around for 20 years, so we got a lot of stuff and a lot of sustainability things to think about. And we're really, really diving into Omeka S in particular now, especially with like a lot of needs for, I think I typed in the chat, like, and Sarah mentioned handing off sites to external stakeholders or like Sanyin was saying, like building things for students and other projects to use. So we're kind of trying to work ground level up a little bit. But then other times we're trying to pretty much wholesale copy a theme from an existing site into an Omeka site, and it's really fun. Anyway, this one I'm going to show you was actually the first one we built from the ground up in Omeka S. And I have to give credit to Casey Nash, who couldn't be here today. She is really the brain power behind this site. I just did the pretty stuff on top of the content. So if you have questions about like modules or how pages were set up, definitely share those. I will probably pass those on to Casey or ask them to her and get back to you. This is an open educational resource by the U.S. Law and Race Initiative here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And my job as the front end editor, like developer, was basically to consult with Casey and make this really work for like textual stuff, right? We have some other sites that really follow the more typical Omeka pattern of like artifacts, images, things like that. This is almost all of these items have a media attachment, but that it's an HTML object. And we're finding that's going to be the case for a lot of our sites. Some of these things are actually TEI first, and then they're transformed to HTML and then put in Omeka S. This site was just straight into Omeka S. No TEI, no transformation, anything like that. I'd worked on one theme before this for the African Poetry Digital Portal. I don't know if they'll ever unveil that site. But the thing with creating this theme is that Casey knows HTML and CSS. So really what I was trying to do is get a framework going for her so that she could keep creating and designing like without having to go through me to do it. I'll click around the site a little bit later, but I just wanted to say that we do have a GitHub repository that you're welcome to browse. Please be gentle. The commit history is far from the gold standard of web development, but hopefully it has some entertainment value for you if you read it. This is also where our documentation currently lives. This was a big thing so that Casey could see all the things that were available to her. It's maybe a little much, but it does show like how we've put Bootstrap in to use, how to get into the CSS editor. It documents all of the custom CSS variables I use so that she can plug colors into the site. Since the theme's built on Bootstrap, really what Casey was doing a lot of the times, like here with Explore Guide and teaching modules, is applying Bootstrap classes to like a block group and then to blocks, and then that's creating the layout that you see there. We didn't use the grid layout. It's really cool that it's there. At the time, I think we didn't use it because on mobile it was still having it, you could only set one value, and not by breakpoints. So we ended up using it because like everything was too small on mobile and it wasn't like reorganizing. I haven't looked since then, so that might be out of date. But some of the modules that this uses are faceted browse, which is really our bread and butter. But I keep using CSS to turn the table into like a Flexbox layout, which I have mixed feelings about. It works really well for screen readers, but I don't love that it doesn't visually match what the screen reader is telling you because it doesn't look like a table anymore. But the table layout for faceted browse just really doesn't work for like text descriptions, right? Because everything gets like so long and wrapped. So we didn't actually override this with a template at first, but then we did so that I could work on getting the item sets to show up. The item sets are actually teaching modules. So like this one is pretty short, but some of them are a little more interesting. Like Dred Scott the Litigant is like an article to read. And then on the left, you can see we've like actually skinned a bunch of our metadata to look different from each other to kind of be visually distinct. And the way that I did that was to go into, I don't know if you can see my inspector well enough, go into the metadata partial or like the PHP template and just add a little bit of code to add a unique, hopefully unique class to each property that lets me target it with CSS. So the hope is like in the future, Casey could change up how these things look with ever actually like having to go into the theme files. She could go into the CSS editor module and just overwrite the styles that I've made. We really try not to get into the PHP too much. That's partly a limitation of like our PHP knowledge, but it's also like, hey, maybe that'll help future-proof a little bit. You know, like I feel like more people we work with know CSS than PHP. And it means you only have to go into like the SAS files to like look for what you're doing if you're in the theme files. Um, but I'm starting to learn more about the PHP stuff. Yeah, so like this is the page title. All she has to do is put a couple different classes on it if she wants to change it up. Let's see, I think one of them is like page title purple. And since those are her CSS classes, she can use the same styling other places on the site. And we also use CSS on Omeka S blocks. So this button layout here is actually a list of pages block. And since doing this, I've learned that you can do custom block templates. So I've started doing that. But at the time, what we did was I just created a class list as buttons that she can add to a list of pages block, and it does all the work for her. So yeah, like I said, sorry, it's not a very good tour. It's because
No, this is
mainly
fantastic.
it's the styles, yeah. But Casey, I'm sure like there's a lot of things we could talk about from the CDRH that we're working on and excited about. The different ways that she used item sets and themes and metadata browse and linked things. Like it's really cool, but I can't do it justice. So yeah.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to open it up for a couple minutes of questions. And I'm just double checking the chat for anything that might have been missed.
Yeah, no worries.
But I think it's mostly cheering for your documentation and this
That's
tour.
good. That's good. Yeah, always love to chat with people if you have questions. I know some of the challenges for us that you'll probably be hearing us talk about a lot are like thumbnails. We're really wrestling with thumbnails right now, especially in faceted browse. And like just sticking some logic in some templates to like, kind of like people were talking about before. Yeah, fun times. We really like Omeka S. Despite the struggles. It's really great. So
Yeah, you've produced a really great result. It's really exciting to see all these things that we've worked on put to such good use. Especially like I'm excited for you and your block templates.
yes.
I think that was like my baby of 2024.
Yay. Yep, blocks are amazing. It's so nice.
All right, I think that I didn't see any other questions, so I think we're going to transition to our final presenters. Gil and Yale, would either of you like to take the stage?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. This is Gil, and I'll share my screen. This one, I think. Right. So can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Great. So again, thank you very much for having us. As you said, Yael, Netzer, and I are working on this project. It's called Music, Muslims, and Jews, an archive of a research project that presents the shared musical heritage of Muslims and Jews in various parts of the Middle East, run by Professor Edwin Sarossi from the Hebrew University and another and a whole team. So what I wanted to say is that we are showing really a work in progress here. As you can see, the graphical aspect is quite basic. But the main challenge that we had to face was that this is, as the name hints at, a multilingual undertaking, and both the materials and, wow, this is working very slowly. Both the materials and the UI had to be multilingual. So we support English, Arabic, and Hebrew. So that's really what I want to talk about in the next few minutes. We worked with the freedom theme and then made quite extensive modifications, both to CSS, but we did have to go into the PHP. I'm not a PHP programmer at all, but Claude was my friend. And actually, it's quite amazing how you can go these days into a language which you don't know. I guess if you're a programmer, I did do ASP.NET in the day, so many of the concepts are similar, but never touched PHP and went in quite deep for this project. So that's interesting, I think. So the challenges, both a trilingual site and a bidirectional site, because when you go to Arabic or Hebrew, obviously you need to have a right to left UI. And what I found is that the support is sketchy. In a lot of places in the core code, and definitely in the freedom code, I mean, probably more so even in the core code than in the freedom code, there's quite a few points where the support where you need that's why I need to go into the code, because the support is not there. I'll talk about a couple of issues. So maybe I'll actually show the slide. Let me see how I can do that. So I hope you can see my presentation here. So the issues that I encountered on the trilingual side, I didn't say I used Daniel KM's module internationalization, which is really what makes the switcher possible. And you basically build 3 sites and you switch between them, and translations, etc., work as you'd expect. But a strange issue was that Hebrew there's no translation file, the PO or MO file in Omeka core. There's not even an empty Hebrew translation file, and then that made it impossible to actually use the module until I found that, and that took quite a lot of digging until I found that and added an empty file to the core code base, and that made everything possible, and I could go from there and add translations into the modules database. So that was a kind of unexpected roadblock that took quite a while to uncover. The other issue, one of the main problems in the code, mostly core and also in theme code, is that compound expressions are translated as one. And I actually have an example here, and this apologies for non-PHP people, but you can just very quickly see that the original translates a compound expression, and obviously that doesn't work because those changeable expressions change, and there's many permutations there, and obviously the translation will not work. And the fix is quite simple. You need to actually translate each part of the expression separately, and then assemble the expression. This type of problem, there's probably 20 places I had to fix in the code, which may be something to look at on your side. The other thing is that many expressions actually don't use translate. So there's quite a few places, and obviously you come up against them when you go to a different language and the translations are not applied because it's not in the code. The other type of issue is that in CSS, there's many places with left or right or explicit in the CSS styling, and the solution for that is actually in modern CSS, you can, instead of specifying left, you can specify start, and start reactive to the direction of the page. So start on a left to right page will be on the left, and in a right to left page will be on the right. So again, there's many places in the CSS that this needs to be changed. The same as in left can also be changed to inline start, and etc. So there's, once you get into it, there's again a lot of changes you can make, and better support for that will make it easier for people trying to do the multilingual and especially bidirectional sites. Let's go back to the site. The other modification that I made was building a module for this part of the homepage, because we wanted basically to have a bunch of links to specific. Why isn't it working? For some reason. Again, this is not completely production level ready. So let me see. Right, so this goes to one of the item set browsers, and we wanted to have the content creators in control of this, but also the names of the item sets need to be coming from the multilingual versions, because in Arabic it will look different, and in English obviously. So and also the text at the top is obviously multilingual. So for that, I built a custom module, which I think I have here, a custom module which takes the numbers of the item sets to display, and it's dynamically built into the page, and then also has a place to enter multilingual text, which will be shown according to the locale of the actual site. So that's how. So a simple custom module was a very good solution for that. And you might notice that I am using the new grid system here. There's just 2 columns here, but it's very effective. And interesting to note, the grid system, maybe unsurprisingly, is actually bidirectional by design. So it's actually a very neat thing to use if you want to have this type of display. And obviously it's just 2 columns, but it could be more, and that will switch when you switch the direction of the page of the site. So that's actually a very powerful new feature in Omeka. That's really what I wanted to discuss. If there are any questions.
Yeah, that is extremely impressive, especially since, yeah, I agree that we don't have great support for right to left right now. And we've had some discussions with Yale, and would like to continue these discussions on how to approach this particular functionality, because of course, we that's not the orientation we're familiar with, and we would love to continue working with people who who use this as their default, that this is their lived experience. So this is amazing to see in action and to see all the work that you put in to make it work for your project.
Yeah, I'll be very glad to discuss with any people working on the specifics. I only showed 2 or 3 of the major things that need to be addressed. There's a few more.
Yeah, and just I apologize in the interest of time, because we've had so much enthusiasm in the showcase. We're running into some of our other sections, so I'm going to cut Q&A short for now. But my current plan right now, the open feedback is at the end, thankfully. So people who can't stay will keep the floor open a little bit longer for that. But yeah, feel free. I understand that everyone's time is precious, so it's understandable if you still need to leave at 12:30 or even earlier. But I think we're going to start transitioning into some of our topic presentations before the final open discussion. Thank you, Gil. So yeah, we have one of the designer of the Freedom theme and the Lively theme, Nelson Amaya. He recently posted an extensive write-up on how he uses page templates in some of the contract work that we do here at the Omeka team. So I'm going to yield the floor to him.
Thank you, Kim. Hey, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. Just 1 second. Okay. So today I'm going to talk about page templates in Omeka S for theme developers. This is, let me go here. This is a new, well, not a new, but a feature introduced in Omeka S version 4.1. I started working with Omeka about 3 years ago, and by then we didn't have these page templates. So when I started working on theme development, it was kind of tricky to achieve some things. I wanted to customize certain pages. So as we had just a common or global template for all pages, it was kind of tricky to do certain things. But after we introduced this new feature, it was really easy to customize some certain pages and make themes better. So yeah, what are page templates? This is a feature that allows theme developers to apply custom layouts per page. So if you want one layout for a single page and then a different layout for the home page and another for about, etc., you can do this by using page templates. And it's pretty easy to build them or to use them. So we are going to go to that part later. The other good thing about page templates is that once the theme developer creates them, they are available through the dashboard, the Omeka dashboard. So any author or admin can just create a new page and assign the page template to that specific page without the need of the developer or without the need of, adding new code for every new page, but you already have the page templates available and you can just use them as you want. And also with page templates, it's not only to make a whole different template. You can just make a small change. Let's say you want a page with just a single small change and that's it. Anyway, you can use page templates for that. It's not just for completely custom pages. It also works for completely custom pages, but works for every need in terms of different layouts. Now we are going to see how to implement page templates. So again, it's pretty easy. It's just 2 steps. So the first one, you as a theme developer needs to register the page template in your theme's theme.init file, which is the theme's configuration file. The way you do that is basically this format here. So you add page underscore templates dot your template file name, which is system name or hyphenated name, and then the template display name, which is the user-friendly name that you want to assign to your template. This is the name that the author or administrator will see in the dashboard. And here is an example. So let's say I want to create a template called my first template. So what I do in the theme.init file in my theme is to add a new line with this code here. So I add page underscore templates that my hyphen first hyphen template equals, and then my first template, which is the display name that I want to show in the dashboard. That would be the first step. And then the second step is creating the template file or files within your theme directory. So the location for that file should be within your theme. You go to the view folder, then common, page template, and inside page template, you create your file. It's pretty important that you create the file with the exact same name as you defined in the step before. This one, the machine name that you defined here, should be the same here for the file, and then you add the PHTML extension. And that's it. That's basically it. Create new page templates. The next step, or not next step, but what you need to do with this file here that you created is just add the new layout that you want. So in my case, what I found it's pretty easy to do. Do not start from scratch with this kind of files. You just use the core file system from Omeka, a file called show PHTML. This is the template that Omeka uses for all the pages, and you can find it in the Omeka core file system under application, view, Omeka site page. So you go to that directory, you'll find the show PHTML file. You can just copy that file into your page template directory, then you rename that with the name that you want the template to have, and that's it. You can start working from that file. You can use that file as a base and then start modifying it according to your needs. So here we have a use case. We developed a custom theme for the Fred Korematsu Institute. This was for a website called Am I an American or Am I Not? And they wanted, well, first of all, there is a feature in Omeka S that is page navigation. So if you've seen that, let me show you that real quick. That's basically in the bottom of each page, you'll have this page navigation, which allows you to go page by page to the next or the previous one. That's a feature that you can turn on or off in the Omeka settings. The thing is that if you turn this off, it will be globally off, which means you won't have page navigation at all in your website. Or if it's turned on, it will be always present in every single page. But this client wanted to have some pages with it, some others without it, which was a challenge by that time. But then using page templates, it was really, really easy to do. I'm going to show you the code for that later. Let me go here. Yeah, so finally, once we have the file, the template file modified and everything, the way to assign it to a page template is basically going to the edit page. You click on the edit on the page you want to assign the page template. And then you click on the configure layout icon, which is this icon you can see here. We are going to go to an actual page, and I'll show you this how this works. Just wanted to log this in the presentation. And then in the right panel, you'll see a section called template. And in that section, you have a drop down where you can see all the templates that the theme developer has created. And that's it. After that, you can save and you can go to the page and see how it works. Now let me go real quick to the code here. Let's see how it works. So this is actual code. This is for the theme that I mentioned before for the Korematsu Institute. This is the theme.ini file for this website. Let me go to the top. You can see here, this is the definition of the theme, all the general settings. Then at the end of the file, I added my custom page templates. In the example that I mentioned before, it's the no page navigation template, right? I added it here. And then I created the file under my theme. I created it under view, common, page template, and it's right here. This is the file. So again, initially what I did was to copy the show PHTML, which is in the Omeka core file system. And I just started working over that file within my theme directory. I'm going to show you the difference here just so it's clear what I did. On the left side, it's the original show PHTML file. On the right hand, it's the new template that I created. So as you can see, it's pretty similar, same lines. The only difference are highlighted here in gray. One is that I removed the show page pagination variable, which I don't need anymore because I don't want to show the pagination in this template. So I removed that line. And then at the end, I removed the conditional to show or hide it, as well as the echo function to render the page pagination. And that's it. The rest of the lines are exactly the same. So as you see, I just copy all the code from show and just removed the things that I didn't want for this new page template. That's it. Now with that page template in place, I can go to the dashboard. And let's say here, what I showed you before is a page that I called content page. And this page, as you can see here, has, let me close this for now. This page has the page pagination here, but let's say I don't want this specific page to have this. I can go to the dashboard, I click on edit that page. And then click on this icon here, which is the layout settings. Here you have the section for template. It's the default template, always by default. That's the one that you'll see. But if you have custom templates, if you click here, you'll be able to select the template that you want to assign. We were talking about the no page navigation template, so we are going to assign that one. And then hit save. Now, if we go to our page and reload, we shouldn't see the page pagination. Yeah, we don't have it anymore here. And we didn't disable it globally. It means if we create a new page and just set the default page template, that page will have the page pagination. So that's still available. It's still active, but it's only disabled for this page because I assigned this specific template to this page. So yeah, that's a really basic example of how to use page templates. There is another real quick example, and it's something we need to consider. Let me go to this presentation. Something we need to consider is that page templates are applied. I mean, the code that you add to the page template file is applied within the main content div in the page. It's the div that has the ID main content. Let me show you that page here. Let's go here. So that template is applied within this div here, which is the content. But what if you want to apply something different to this page that is outside this container? That was another challenge that I faced because for this client we wanted to have a hero, but this hero they only wanted it to be in the home page, not on every single page. The hero couldn't be within this container because the hero needed to go below the main menu, and had some specific requirements. So we needed the hero to be outside this main content container. So that was the challenge. What we had to do is for cases like that where you want to modify the page outside this content is, so the first step is in the page template file, the one that you just created, you can set the page variable to the layout template so we can get the current page template in the layout file. The layout file is the file that defines all the page layout from the beginning, from the HTML tag, including the header, the head, the body, all the content. That's the layout. So we pass the page variable to that layout file using this line. This is in the page template. And then in the layout file, the layout PHTML file, we get the current template name by using this code. So we basically validate if the object page is set. And if it's set, we access the template name using the layout data value method. If not, we just set it to an empty string or null, whatever you want. So in the layout file, now we are able to know what is the page template that we assign to that specific page that we are seeing currently. And then finally, based on the page template, we can add our custom logic. So we basically validate if the page template is, for example, my template, the one that I just created. I can add my custom logic here. I can add a banner. I can add whatever I want, any content, any custom content, just to this specific page template. So that's how I did the hero in this case. Let me show you real quick how it works in code. That's the page with hero template. Again, I'm comparing here the core file against my custom page template. As you can see, the only difference here is that I added 2 lines. The first line, I'm basically, this is not mandatory, but it's a good practice. And it's to add a custom class to the body element, depending on the page template. So in this case, for this template, which is called page with hero, I'm adding a class called page with hero to the body. That's what this line is doing. And then the other line, I'm assigning the page variable to the layout. So I can access the current template in the layout. And that's it. Now I go to the layout file. And from this file, what I need to do is to get the current template, which I'm doing right here. I'm getting the template using the function that I explained before. And with this variable, having the current template, I can do whatever I want. So I can go here. For example, this layout, as I said before, is the whole page. So it has the HTML tag, it has the head tags, and it has the body tags here. So now knowing the template that I'm assigning to this page, I can modify whatever I want outside the container that I explained before. I can add anything to the head or to the body, etc. In this case, I'm validating if the page template is page with hero, then I'm adding a partial called common banner, which is a custom partial that I created for the banner. That way, when I create the home page, I can select the page with hero template, and I have a banner just in the home page, which is the page that I assigned that template. Let me go real quick to the home page. And there we go. We have the hero here. And yeah, the rest of the content. This was stuck just for the home page, but I actually did it for any page because it's a page template, which means if in the content page, I also want to add the hero or banner, I can do it really quick just by changing the template here. I can select page with hero with no page navigation or just page with hero. Let's go with this one. And if I reload this page, I should see the hero in this page as well. Let's wait that it, okay, there we go. Okay.
Nelson, just
And
to
now,
just because we're getting close to our original time end, I might ask that. Yeah, no, it's okay. This is our
sorry.
first time doing it, so I wanted to make sure that we try our best to respect people's time. But
Yeah. No, that's it. That's basically it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nelson. And yeah, I know that we're basically coming up to our original time end, and I understand if folks can't stay longer. I can run through my accessibility presentation as efficiently as possible. But again, thank you all for your patience and for showing up. This has been a really, I think, this is definitely more than the minimum I was expecting, and like I think that I would love to do another one of these. So. Yeah, with that, I'm going to start pulling up.
And while Kim is pulling things up, I'll remind that we're recording this and that we'll post it. So if you need to step away because you've got other obligations, we'll still capture Kim's conversation about accessibility. And that our plan is to do these quarterly going forward, not necessarily always focused on design issues, but sort of as community interest brings forth topics for us to talk about.
All right, I'm going to start sharing. And let's see, actually, I'm just going to do the whole screen. All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about our work in making accessible patterns in Omeka. So let's start with a brief overview. Accessibility, this is making your content, your project, available to as many audiences as possible, especially with those who are disabled or use assistive technologies in mind. So part of our work with that in Omeka, we started focusing on Omeka.net and Omeka Classic. We worked with another party to do accessibility audits to assess where we stand currently in our ability to support these needs. we've done a lot of back and forth. I think we started in 2002, maybe. It's been years, and it's not just a matter of they found everything that we needed to work on and we had quick solutions. Accessibility is tricky. Even within the community, not everyone is using the same technologies, and there are lots of differences between those technologies. So for us, it was a lot of learning to what these technologies are, where they differ, how people use them, and also just learning like how to use them ourselves. We also made an effort to seek out and hire for web accessibility experience. So at first, I was working a lot with Katie, who just had to leave, and who organized this community call. She was doing a lot of on-site training, figuring out all these things with me. But we started hiring for other testers. We hired Alana, who does testing, but also focuses more on documentation. But then we hired Aviana Miller, who has an extensive history in accessibility testing and brings a lot of her experience, especially as a disabled person herself, to our QA process. She does a lot of great research. I learn things from her all the time. And we recently just completed at least just one session of screen reader training with people who use them in their daily lives, who for them, screen readers are part of their lived experience. So our testing has become much more robust. We test across both different browsers, different OSs, different devices. So your desktop and your phones and Android and iOS devices, our sort of stack of testing platforms has expanded pretty greatly. And there's a lot of nuances in between them. So for those who haven't worked with accessibility before or are passively familiar, a lot of common things that you'll hear are things like color contrast, making sure that everything is legible, the text and the background are sufficiently different from each other so that you can read things at a glance. And that when you look at things, you know what you can interact with versus what is just body text. There are things like text size, making sure that people can read and aren't like staring at tiny text. A very common one that especially I've seen more commonly addressed in especially social media platforms, alt text. So for people who are visually impaired and need screen readers, they have media described to them by their screen readers. So users are encouraged to provide descriptive text to their images, their video, things like that. So those are things that you'll hear very frequently. Some trickier stuff that have dealt with. So Omeka is a very involved interface. We have our fields and fields of metadata that to fill out. We have our vocabularies, our templates, etc. So you're dealing with a lot of forms. You can manipulate these forms. You can press a lot of buttons, pull a lot of levers. And for people who use screen readers, they need these things, like everything that happens, to be described to them, and they need to be properly announced. Then we also have form labeling. So with all our fields, even if you can see like a label and it's select or text box right next to it, it can get lost in how screen readers read these out if they're not properly associated. Focus order. So whether you read left to right or right to left, you need to be able, if you use primarily a keyboard, you need to make sure that everything is announced to you in the order that you expect it. So when your keyboard focus moves to the next element, it doesn't skip down the page, it doesn't skip to the other side of the page. It's where you expect it. And there's so much more that we are continually addressing and learning about. So just some examples in the admin interface, and I've got them over here, and I'm going to start turning on VoiceOver, which is the default screen reader in Mac OS. Let's see here. This appeared in my multitude of icons at the top. So let's see here. Start that up. There we go. All right. And where did you go? Let me see if I can get it to the right screen. There we go. All right. So I don't know if you can see the text box at the bottom or overlaying my screen here. So right now it's announcing that we are on an add a field button. Yeah, so you can see there's a lot of things being described. When I add a field, it updates and tells you how many more fields are in there. It's something that we as visual users immediately can perceive, whereas for someone who uses screen reader, it is super helpful for them to know what just happened. Like when we added a field, did it actually happen? So we have a custom announcement that says the number of rows after you press that button. And this is a lot to implement, but it's absolutely necessary. We're trying to do more than the bare minimum and also make this an experience that provides, it's super enthusiastic about updating on what the Zoom is doing as well. But anyways, we're trying to make sure that people can use our interface, and also we can help module developers, plugin developers have the patterns and tools that they can use to also make their add-ons similarly accessible. Let's see here. There are things like announcing when things are open and closed. VoiceOver will tell you when things are expanded and collapsed. And things like whether things are sorting ascending or descending. Those are the like improvements, like things that you can't really see immediately if you have all your visual capacities. But these are things that we've worked extensively on and are very much under the hood. And we've not just done this on the admin side. We are also working on things in the public themes. So for example, let's look at, see here. I've got Foundation here. So let me get VoiceOver on again. Oops. I'm going to navigate with my keyboard here. You can see the focus of my cursor. I'm navigating with my arrow keys. You can see how much is being described to the user. And so this is a lot of the work that we've done in the themes is giving you means of letting your users use things via the keyboard and also having things described to them appropriately. The focus moves into this open menu, and especially for the search form, this is JavaScript for toggling that we just included. So you just have to use the helper that produces the search form, and it should be in there in the themes. So we're trying to make it so that you can benefit from all the hard work that we put in and not have to go through similar rabbit holes yourself. So that's a lot of our work over the past few years in trying to give everyone the tools that they need to make things more accessible. Things that we want to do in the future. So currently in the documentation, I have a branch going for documenting these blocks of code that I've used so that people can have a reference for when they're developing add-ons, what it looks like, what we do typically, that they can just copy and paste and then modify to their needs, but they at least have a precedent for how to implement a lot of these interactions in their work. Nelson provided a case study for how he uses blog and page templates. I would love to do similar things for some of our accessibility work, documenting our process or how we achieve certain interactions. And then we currently use the forums and GitHub issues for a lot of reporting to raise our awareness outside of the audits that we have. And there's a lot of overlap, but there's also just a lot of stuff that our users catch that we didn't catch through those means, because this is their needs, their lived experiences. This is what their users have described to them. And so if you're not there in the forums or the GitHub issues, I encourage you to like look at them and see if maybe that's something that you'd be interested in participating in, because I continue to love to hear from more people with this kind of passion for this kind of work. And that's my spiel for accessibility, but it's something that I've been very passionate about. It's been extremely edifying for me to learn, and I would love to share in this with a greater Omeka community. All right, and so we are now at 12:41, 10 minutes past our original time. I'm going to stick around for about 10 minutes just to see if there are any questions or if people want to talk a little bit, but I'm also happy to, if anyone wants to put some questions in the chat or exchange contact information, please feel free to do that. I wish we had more time for opening the floor, because I really do want to hear from everyone. But you know, we've all got things to do too. I understand that.
I might follow up on that announcement before the conversation gets started to say that we are like on the precipice of an Omeka S 4.2 release.
Right.
So there's lots of things coming in that. I want to thank Kim and Katie so much for drawing this conversation together, and Nelson for his presentation, and the way that the whole team is working to try and make things easier and more accessible, and to build community around what folks are doing. That being said, when you signed up, you may or may not have checked the box to subscribe to our newsletter. I encourage you to do that, because we try and highlight some of the stuff in the newsletter too, but also it will be, you know, your regular reminder that there might be another community call coming up. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Kim.
All right, yeah. So maybe some brief conversation starters. What are things that we could be doing to help support theme development for your work? And I'm going to keep on harping on this because this is my focus, and I don't get to hear enough of it. I feel like the developers are very blessed in how much they get to hear from people from add-on developers, but not as much from the theme side of things. So especially in things like things that, like, maybe if you don't work in design, your design collaborators have asked of you, what are some challenges, or like could we be doing more to make building your projects easier? And I'm going to look at the chat, and also feel free to just talk. I think that everyone can unmute themselves. And while I'm waiting for some questions, and feel free to interrupt me. Oh, okay, I see. We need pagination for items, and I think we use classic. Pagination for items. So, are you talking about within an item, like some kind of paginated content, or are you talking about?
Yeah, I can explain it more clearly if I just say, because
Sure.
I'm not the designer, I'm not anything except we've got it down pat. We have collections when we have items in the collection, but when you click on, like, let's say an item, like our newspaper has 4 pages, 4 items in there, and you click, I don't know how to get it to click from page 1 through page 4 as they're each an item in that particular part of I think is in that.
Oh, is it possibly within collections? I know that when you're looking at the collection view, it just kind of spits out all the items at the bottom, right? And you want that part to be paginated. Is that what I'm thinking?
Let me give you just a good example. I can put a link in the page, and that might make it clearer, because like I said, I'm not here. The files that's in there. Hold on. There.
Yeah, feel free to post a link.
There you go.
There we go.
And so you see the files over to the right when you bring that up, and it has 4 different files. And when you click on that, you bring it up. Like I want it to go from page 1, to, like as if they were
Oh, I
looking
see.
at
So
the
you want
new
to
thing.
paginate between your files. You want to be able to go to the next file within an item.
Yes. There
Okay.
we go. Thank you. Those are the words I needed. Yes.
Yeah. I don't think we currently have this, but it's definitely something I want to take a note of. And
Yeah,
bring back to our developers.
it's really causing us a problem with our users, and I don't want to switch off of Omeka because it's easy to use, and we do not have IT support because we're a small library, and I'm the director. I don't, and no offense to anybody, we all have a shortness of time, but this isn't my main focus, and it's a disservice to our users, and I guess I don't want to switch, but this is a struggle for us. We can't afford to host our own stuff either. Like, so I'm using this at the very basic level, and that's just the one thing that's missing for us.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
go
just want to note that there is a plugin that is available for all of the plan levels called File Paginator.
Oh, okay.
And it's available for all of the plan levels. I do not know. I'm not certain that it is available for the free plan.
Well, we're not using the free plan. We're paying.
You're paying. So there's a plugin called File Paginator that might solve your problem.
The file paginator that I see, it doesn't. I don't see it as file paginator. We have a pagination on it, but it doesn't take us through each one of the.
I understand the pages of your files are separate.
Yes.
They're not. I see. That's a different problem. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's entirely possible. But yeah, let's talk more after this. And then like we can start an email discussion or something, but or post to the forums or something so that everyone can benefit from what we come up with.
Okay, thank you
but yeah,
very
I think
much.
it's possible.
Just tell me how. I don't mean to be stupid, but this is not my main focus of. I just need it to work. I don't know what to do.
Understandable. Yeah. Let me take I have your contact information via the registration. So let me reach out after this and we can talk about what you need.
Thank you. I love you guys so much.
Yes. And Sharon is answering a question about AI integration in the back end. And there's a third-party AI generator module. Sharon, I think that's the only thing that I see that we've been working on regarding AI was within Transifex. Am I right? Or Transcribus?
Transcription. So yeah, so we're working on first for S and then for Classic, a module that we're sort of calling the services module because we can imagine adding other things into it. But the first integration is with Transcribus. So if you had handwritten documents in your items that you wanted a kind of a seamless UI to ship them out to be transcribed and have those transcriptions returned directly from your Omeka installation, that's coming. I cannot tell you. I actually can't tell you soon, but I hope in the next 6 months.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I know that the feedback and the discussion portion is a little bit short, but hopefully we can better gauge next time how much we need. And honestly, this is a good problem. I'm happy to have run over due to enthusiasm. But with that, I think I'm gonna call this session to a close. And we'll reach out further. People can keep up via the newsletter. We will definitely keep everyone up to date on our socials and in the newsletter as to when the next quarterly community call will happen, because I am fairly certain it will, based off of how well this one went.
It absolutely will. We promise.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.